Welcome to the session on design and analysis of algorithms. Let us discuss the graph coloring problem. Let G be a graph and M be a given positive integer. So the graph coloring problem is the problem to discover whether the nodes of the graph G can be colored in such a way that no two adjacent nodes have the same color and only M colors are used. This is also called as the M colorability decision problem. If D is the degree of a given graph, then it can be colored with D plus 1 colors. Degree of a vertex is nothing but the number of edges that are incident on that particular vertex. So the degree of a graph is obtained by finding the degrees of the individual vertices and by choosing a maximum value among these degrees. M colorability optimization problem asks for the smallest integer m for which the graph G can be colored. So m is also referred to as the chromatic number of the graph. In this graph we have 5 vertices A, B, C, D and E. So this graph, if we consider the degree of vertex A has got 3 edges 1, 2 and 3. So the degree of vertex A is 3. The degree of vertex B, this is also 3. Why? Because from B we have 3 edges. For vertex C, the degree is 3. There are 3 edges. Vertex D has a degree of 2 because it has only 2 edges. And vertex E has also got the degree 3. So if I consider this graph, the degree of this graph is given as D is equal to, the maximum among these is 3. So I can color this graph with 3 plus 1 colors, that is 4, that is maximum. But I want to use the least possible colors such that adjacent vertices do not get the same color, and this can be done with an M value of 3. By taking only 3 different colors, I can color this particular graph. So this particular graph, for the vertex A, if color 1 is chosen, then its adjacent vertex, that is B, C and E, they cannot get the same color 1. So the vertex B will be colored with the color 2. Now 2 is having edge with the vertex C and E. So C and E cannot have the same color 2. Coming to the vertex C, its adjacent vertices have got the color 1 and the color 2. So I can give it a different color, that is why we have taken the color 3. Coming to the vertex D, D is adjacent to vertex C and to vertex E. For E we have not yet chosen the color, but adjacent vertex C has been already given the color 3. So I can give either the color 1 or 2 to vertex D. They have taken the color 1. So let us keep it as 1. If we have taken the color 1, then when coming to the vertex E, the vertex B is colored with the color 2, its adjacent vertex A is colored with the color 1 and its adjacent vertex D is colored with the color 1. So I can color it with the different color, that is color 3. Apart from 1 and 2, that is the color 3. The graph was colored with 3 different colors. the colors 1, 2 and 3. These colors, that is the numbers, are representing any colors. It could be red, green, yellow, white, blue, black, etc. The color of each node in the graph that we colored was indicated next to it. So outside the vertex, we put a number that was representing the color with which that vertex would be colored. The chromatic number of this graph is 3 because only 3 colors are needed to color it. So what is a planar graph? A graph is said to be planar if and only if it can be drawn in a plane such that no two edges will cross each other. The 4-color problem for a planar graph. We have an idea about the coloring of a map. So if we consider the Karnataka state, we have different districts, and if we take different districts, the adjacent district should not have the same color if I were to represent it on a map book. So given any map, whether the regions can be colored such that no two adjacent regions have the same color, but only 4 colors are needed. This problem can be solved by using a graph, because a map can be transformed into a graph where the places are represented by the nodes and adjacent places are represented by an edge connecting the two adjacent places. So each region of the map becomes a node, and if two regions are adjacent, then the corresponding nodes are joined by an edge. The next figure, we see a map with 5 regions and its corresponding graph, where this graph requires 4 colors to be colored. Consider this given representation. We have 5 places represented by the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now if we were to convert this into a graph, so we will have for each place 5 nodes representing the 5 places. Now here we see that this 1 is adjacent to 2, 4 and 3. So we should have 3 edges from 1 to 2, 3 and 4. So 2, 3 and 4. Next, if you see this 2, it is adjacent to 1, it is adjacent to 4 and it is adjacent to 5. So it should have edges with 1, 4 and 5. With 1 it is already there. Okay. Next with 3, with 4 and with 5. Right now I will show it here. I'll be including it later. Okay. So next, if you see this place 3, you see that it is adjacent to 4, it is adjacent to 1 and it is adjacent to 2 also. Okay, so from 3 to 1, 2 and 4 we should have edges. We have edge 3 to 1, to 2 and to 4. Next, if you look at the place 4, it is adjacent to 3, 2 and 5. So 4 is adjacent to 2, 4 is adjacent to 3, we have already marked, and it is adjacent to 5. Coming to 5, it is adjacent to 1, it is adjacent to 2. So 4 to 5 it is already there, for 2 to 5. So this is the graph representing this particular map of 5 places. Consider a graph is represented by its adjacency matrix. So G of n cross n. So that n is given by vertex number 1 to n and 1 to n. So we have a square matrix where G of ij, this value in the matrix is equal to 1 only if there is an edge from ith vertex to the jth vertex. That is, if I comma j is an edge of the graph G and G of ij is 0 if there is no edge from ith vertex to the jth vertex. So the colors are given by the values 1, 2, 3 until m, and the solutions are represented by n tuple x1, x2, xn, where each value of xi will be representing the color assigned to that particular node I. Coming to the state space tree, the state space tree will be a tree of degree m because m possible colors can be given for any vertex, and the height of the tree will be n plus 1. Each node at level I will have m children corresponding to the m possible assignments to the ith node given by xi, where I ranges from 1 to n. Nodes at the last level, that is n plus 1, are the leaf nodes. Let us see a state space tree when we have n vertices, n is equal to 3, and also when there are 3 colors. Let us see how the state space tree diagram looks like. Given n is equal to 3 and we have also the number of colors m is equal to 3. At the root node, none of the vertices have been colored. At the first level, I am trying to get a color for the vertex 1. So vertex 1 can be colored with any of the 3 colors. So either with the color 1 or with the color 2 or with the color 3. That is why we have 3 child nodes. So with this we have colored the node 1. At the next level we are going to color the node 2. So if node 1 was given the color 1, then node 2 can be colored with the colors 1, 2 or 3. We are trying for all the 3 possibilities. So we have 3 child nodes. Also here x2 can be given the colors 1, 2 or 3. 1, 2 or 3. And considering the last branch, x2 can be given the colors 1, 2 or 3. At the last level, we are trying to get a color for the node 3. So node 3 can be given the colors 1, 2 or 3. 1, 2 or 3. So each node at the previous level is having 3 child nodes to represent the color chosen for the last node. Here we are giving just a general appearance of the state space tree. We have not considered whether a vertex was adjacent to any other vertex. We are just depicting how the 3 different colors can be chosen for the 3 vertices. There are 2 functions to color the graph. We have the function m coloring. Initially, we begin by assigning the input graph to its adjacency matrix. What is an adjacency matrix? If in a given graph there is an edge from the ith vertex to the jth vertex, then in the adjacency matrix, the ith row jth column will have the value 1. And if there is no edge from the ith vertex to the jth vertex, then the corresponding entry in the matrix adjacency matrix will be 0. We also set the array X, which is going to finally contain the values of the colors assigned to each of the vertices, this will be initialized to 0. And then only we call the function mColoring with an argument 1. Because we start with the coloring of the first vertex. That is why the argument is taken as 1. Coming to the function next value. This function produces the possible colors for the kth vertex. So given by x of k. Now this color will be chosen for x of k only after its previous vertices have been assigned the colors. So after x1 through x of k minus 1 have been defined. The main loop of the mColoring function will pick an element from the set of possibilities, assign it to x of k and then call the mColoring recursively. Coming to the mColoring function, we have this function with one argument, that is k. So k refers to the vertex which we are trying to color. We are going to call this particular function having initialized the adjacency matrix G and making the assignments of the solution, that is x1, x2, etc. to 0. Next, we are going to use one of the m colors 1, 2 until m for coloring any of the vertex. So k will be representing the index of the next vertex which you are going to color. We are using the do while loop. So do next value of k. For whatever k you have received as argument, you are going to choose a color for this particular vertex. Two things can happen. Either a new color cannot be assigned to k, for which the value returned for that kth vertex, value of color assigned, that is x of k, will be 0. Or you can successfully assign a color to that vertex. Suppose a color was not assigned to the kth vertex. So we know x of k will be 0 in that case. So if not 0, so if no color was assigned, then you have not found a new color. So you need to repeat. So it goes back to this while 1 and calls once again the next value of k to try some other possibility of getting the different color for the vertex k. If at all successfully you have assigned a color for the kth vertex, then this value will not be 0. In that case, you have to find out the color for next vertex. So that is a k plus 1th vertex. But before getting the k plus 1th vertex, also ensure that you have not reached k is equal to n. If k was the last vertex, so that is k is equal to n, then you have assigned colors to all the n vertices. That is why you have to display all the colors that are chosen for the n vertices. So if k is equal to n, for int I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus, C out x of I. Display whatever values you have obtained for the ith vertex and then the new line. If k was not equal to n, then continue choosing colors for the next vertex. So that is k plus 1. So call once again mColoring of k plus 1. When the function next value of k is called, x of 1, x of 2 until x of k minus 1 have already been assigned the color to represent integer values between 1 to m. Keeping in mind that adjacent vertices will have different integers. A value for x of k is determined in the range 0 to m. 0 means the color was not assigned. Any other value between 1 to m represents a color was successfully assigned to the kth vertex. Once x of k is assigned the next highest numbered color, by maintaining sameness from adjacent vertices of K. Once you get the color, you just check with the adjacent vertices. They should not have the same color. So if no such color exists, then x of k will be 0. Here also we are using the do while loop. So do x of k is equal to choose the next possible color. So currently x of k will have some value. First time when you call, it is 0. So x of k plus 1, modular division m plus 1. We want m possible colors. That means even the value m should be included. Because you are using modular division, if you have chosen the divisor as only m, then you would get 1, 2 until m minus 1. The value m you will not get. So in order to include even the m as a color, so we are taking m plus 1 as the divisor. If no color was assigned, go back to the calling function. Whichever function I had called, go back, because you have not successfully assigned the color because the colors have been used. If x of k has got a value other than 0, then you have to check now whether this value that you have obtained is proper one. That is, with respect to its adjacent vertices, they should not have the same color. So for j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to n, j plus plus. You check whether it has an edge. How do you know it is adjacent to an other vertex? By looking at the adjacency matrix. So if g of k represents the currently colored vertex with j, kj. So if this is equal to 1, and also if the currently colored vertex is x of k and the color assigned previously to the jth vertex, so x of j. If both these are equal, that means they are adjacent, k and j are adjacent, plus you have assigned the same color. So this was not a valid assignment. You have to repeat the process so it comes out and continues by trying to get the next possible color. Now if the adjacent vertex had got a different color, that is why this condition will not be true. Then it will check for every other vertex and ensure that all adjacent vertices have different colors. So when j becomes n plus 1, you would have come out of this for loop. At this point, if j is equal to n plus 1, you have successfully assigned a color to the kth vertex. So return back to the calling function. Consider this graph of 4 vertices. We have vertices with number 1, 2, 3 and 4. Vertex 1 is adjacent to vertex 2 and 4 because it is connected by these two edges. Similarly, vertex 2 is adjacent to vertex 1 and to vertex 3. Vertex 3 is adjacent to vertex 4 and vertex 2, and vertex 4 is adjacent to vertex 1 and 3. We have to keep this in mind when choosing colors because adjacent vertices cannot have the same color. Each leaf in the state space tree which we are going to construct next will have at the most 3 colors. Only 12 solutions exist with exactly 3 colors for this given graph. Let us construct the state space tree. For this graph, we have vertex 1, which is the initial vertex to be colored. So it can take any of the 3 available colors, that is 1 or 2 or 3. So when we start the state space tree, we start with the root node, that is the root where no colors have been assigned to any of the vertex. At the first level, I will choose the colors for the vertex 1. So 3 possibilities. So I have 3 child nodes to take the colors either 1, 2 or 3. The color given to the vertex 1 is given by x1. the vertex 2. This vertex 2 is adjacent to the vertex 1. So when I have the color 1 for the vertex 1, then vertex 2 can take only the colors 2 or 3. When vertex 1 has taken the color 2, then either the color 1 or 3 can be chosen to color the vertex 2. And if vertex 1 has been colored with the color 3, then the remaining two colors, that is 1 or 2, can be used to color the vertex 2. So at the next level, I will represent the values for the second vertex given as x2. So we have, for this case, when x1 is 1, either the colors 2 or the color 3. When x1 has taken the color 2, either it is 1 or 3. And when x1 has taken the color 3, we have either 1 or 2. At the next level, we are going to choose a color for the vertex 3. And vertex 3 is adjacent to the vertex 2. It is also adjacent to this vertex 4, but right now we are already colored the vertex 2. So this color we have to look at, whereas the vertex 4 has not yet been assigned any color. So we need not look at the vertex 4. So we have to look at this level colors that are chosen for the vertex 2. So if vertex 2 is given the color 2, then I can color vertex 3 with the colors 1 or 3. So we can show at the next level the values for x3, that is the colors given to the vertex 3. So we have 1 or 3. If vertex 2 is assigned the color 3, then vertex 3 can be colored with either 1 or 2. If vertex 2 is given the color 1, then vertex 3 can be given the colors 2 or 3. If x2 has been assigned the color 3, then x3 can take the values 1 or 2. If x2 has taken the color 1, then x3 can take either 2 or 3. And if x2 has taken the color 2, x3 can take either 1 or 3. Coming to the last level, we are trying to choose a color for the vertex 4. This vertex 4 is adjacent to the vertex 1 and it is adjacent to the vertex 3. Now colors for the vertex 1 and 3 have already been chosen. So you need to look carefully at the values of x1 as well as the values for x3 because they are adjacent to this vertex 4. So when x1 and x3 have been assigned the colors 1 and 1, both have been assigned the same color. The remaining two colors, that is 2 or 3, can be used to color the vertex 4. If we look at the next branch, x1 has taken the color 1 and x3 is having the color 3. So out of the 3 colors, 2 are already used. So for x4, we have only the leftover one, that is the color 2. So if x1 is given the color 1 and x3 is also given the color 1. So the remaining two colors 2 or 3 can be used to color the vertex 4. So we have either 3 or 2 to color the vertex 4. When vertex 1 is given the color 1 and vertex 3 is given the color 2, only one color is left out, that is the color 3, to color the vertex 4. So x4 is given the value 3. Here we have x1 is given the color 2 and x3 is given the color 2. Both are using the same color. So we have for vertex 4, either I can choose the color 1 or the color 3. when x1 is given the color 2 and x3 is given the color 3. So out of 3 colors, 2 have been utilized to color the adjacent vertices of vertex 4. So I have only one color remaining, that is the color 1 to be assigned to x4. Next, vertex 1 is given the color 2 and vertex 3 is given the color 1. 2 are already utilized. So the vertex 4 can be colored with only one color, that is the color 3. If x1 and x3 have been colored with the same color 2, then vertex 4 can be colored with the remaining two colors, either 1 or 3. So we have two choices, 1 or 3. At this level, we have x1 given the color 3 and x3 given the color 2. So the only left out option is the color 1 to be given to the vertex 4. Vertex 1 is given the color 3 and even vertex 3 is given the color 3. So the left out colors are colors 1 and 2. So the fourth vertex can be colored with either 1 or 2. So x4 can take the values either 1 or 2. Here we have x1 given the color 3 and x3 given the color 1. So out of the 3 colors, 2 have been colored to the adjacent vertices of the vertex 4. So vertex 4 can be colored with only one color, that is the color 2. And the last case where x1 is given the color 3 and x3 is given the color 3. So adjacent vertices of vertex 4, that is vertices 1 and 3 have been given the color 3. So vertex 4 can be colored with the remaining colors, that is the colors 1 or 2. This is how we have colored this graph by using only 3 colors and ensuring that no adjacent vertices get the same color.